Hi Loopy friends, it's Sherry from the Loopy U coming back to you in our second Loopytube, which I'm calling it. And if you watched our first one, thanks for coming back, and if you're new, welcome. And this is a YouTube channel about my knitting and a little bit of stuff maybe about what's going on at the shop and what's coming up at the shop and all kinds of things. So let's jump right into it. I've been doing some Christmas knitting and having a lot of fun, and my first project I want to show you is something that is going to be so sad for me to send away, but I made it for a friend. And you know, I guess the best gifts are the ones that are the hardest to give away because you love it so much. So the pattern is Here We Gnome Again by Sarah Shira, and this is available on Ravelry. And a lot of you know that Sarah is doing a mystery knit along in December, and we did the Advent kits for it, and we had, oh my goodness, we wrapped so many little packages for that Advent kit, but it was so fun. I had the best time pulling together different gnome inspired little gifts for the Advent kit, but it really put me in the mood for gnome making. So one of the gnomes I made was Nutmeg, who those of you who are doing the gnome mystery long will be making in December. So I'll have to show you that the next time because it's a mystery. I can't show it to you, but he was super fun to make and is adorable. I'm going to have to make another one of him. But that got me into a gnome mood, so I've always wanted to make Here We Gnome Again. And my friend Dimmy, who's one of our Loopy customers, made this one and brought it, and I just could not believe how gorgeous it was. So I made this one. Isn't he adorable? Look at all the cabling. I hope you can see the cabling. I hope that's showing up. But it goes all the way around his hat, all the way around his body. Isn't he the cutest? I love him so much. And it's going to be sad to send him away, but I'm glad he's going to a very good home. So the thing about this is, though, I made it one weekend and I got a bruise on my finger, on this finger, a bruise. I think, well, apparently I hold my double points too hard, and I always do cabling where you don't use the cable needle. You know that method, how you slip one off and then put the needle in and slip it back. And I think when I'm doing that slipping, in order to not lose one of the stitches, I'm gripping the needles tightly, and I could not believe it. Got a big old bruise on my finger. In fact, it's still a little sore. The thing about this pattern is there are cables on every single row. You're doing some kind of cable. So it is an intense pattern, but it is so worth it. So I made this in the DK size, and you'll see on here, let's see, what does that call for? Worsted or fingering weight. So I think the two different sizes she shows on there are the worsted edition and the fingering weight edition, and so you vary the size just by the size yarn you use, which is kind of handy. So next time I'm going to make it in a worsted weight and hope that it's not so tiny that my fingers are getting bruised. I don't know, DK weight is not that small, but somehow I would not make it in a fingering personally. I think it'd be adorable, but I'm not doing it. And then one thing she has you do is put poly pellets in. So she has you stuff the top with a fiber fill or whatever, and then put poly pellets in the bottom so he stands up and he's got a little weight to him. So poly pellets you can get, I'm sure you can get it online because we're all trying not to go into shops right now. I think I got mine originally at Joann's, maybe Joann's, and you don't use a lot of them. So anyway, he was super fun to make. And then as I was in the mood to make gnomes, I made another one that I've always wanted to make because we had a customer come in the shop who told me that this pattern was super fast, also by Sarah Shira. She's just like the gnome guru. I call her the gnome guru. She's amazing. Her patterns are amazing. And the details and the techniques she puts in there are just super helpful. So this is a great one. So no fun like gnome fun. This is a great one if you're just starting out and want a super easy, sorry that gets darker, I know that's reflecting off of there. If you want a super easy pattern, this is a great one to start with. So look how cute that is. Traditional. This is what I think of as traditional gnome colors. I think there were gnomes that were popular like in the 90s or the 80s or something, and in these colors, this is what I think about. So I made him, and then I made him, and then I made him, because they were just so fun. And I made them all in one night. That's how fast they are. So I made these for stocking stuffers, and my kids don't watch these, you know, YouTube videos, so I'm one for each of them and one for me. And who knows if they even care about little knitted creatures, but I do. So I made those. And then, and this is called, these are called Noah. This is the Noah pattern. And it's got a flat bottom. So it sits, and again, you put the poly pellets in there. And then they have one Naomi, and of course all of them are spelled with G-N-A-O-M-I and G-N-O-H, but this is Naomi. And Naomi you make without the arms, and you forego the bottom flat part, and you can make it into an ornament. So if you want to leave off this extra ridge to help her stand, she makes a pretty cool ornament. And no arms, I don't know why, and bearded lady, I guess, because her name's Naomi and she's got a beard. But she's cute too. I was thinking she'd be a little smaller, but she really is. She's rounder than the Noah. But aren't they fun? This would also be a fun one, I think, to make in like a worsted. Oh no, I did use a worsted weight now that I'm saying that. I have a container, like a basket of all different colors of worsted weight yarn that I use for littles like this that are kind of fun. So yeah, you'd have to go up to a bulky weight if you want to make it much bigger. But she shows it here in the different sizes using the different weights of yarn, and it's just a super, super fun pattern. And then I had bought this one. Gnome is where you hang your hat. How cute is that one? Look at the little twisted beard on him and a little bit of color work. So I have not made him yet, but I am really anxious to do this one. I don't know what his name is. Nemo. Nemo. That's cute. So I might be making this one next. So it was really fun to make, and I don't know, I like knitting little toys and little things like that. I think I've made so many socks in my life. I think I've made 80 pairs of socks. I've made so many shawls. I've made so many cowls that I'm just in the mood to make fun little things. And I still have big projects going. I'm still working on my goldfish memory, my second goldfish memory that I just haven't gotten back to. But I don't know, it's been fun to take a little break and make littles. Here's another little that I wanted to show you that I made a lot of last year, but I'm showing it to you because it would make a really cute stocking stuffer or just a little fun extra gift to put a smile on somebody's face. But it's the Little Kindness Monster. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I started making these last year, and I had so much fun coming up with color combinations. So I made all of mine striped, and I think I made 8 of them. I don't know. So this is one of the little guys that I made. But you make all the parts separately. The hat comes off. You make the ears. It's super easy to attach the arms and legs. I don't get too hung up on how perfect I'm sewing them on. You just can't. So isn't he cute though? Little Kindness Monster. Free pattern. Fun to make for the holidays. All right, and then the next thing I started making was my favorite knitting pattern for mittens, and I've shared this with you guys before. It's Super Bulky Mittens for Women by Diane Susie. And so I have made several pairs before, and I always make some adaptations to mine. So the pattern calls for just two rows of ribbing, and I'm tall, so a lot of times I need the extra length in mittens to keep my wrist warm in case my winter coats are a little shorter in the sleeves, which, like this, a little shorter than I'd want. That's what happens when you're tall and have long arms. And so I always adapt mine a little bit, and I have made these, I don't know, I think I've made 4 or 5 pairs before. So I looked up on my Ravelry account to see, what did I do before? How long can I make these and still just use 1 skein of Rasta? This is what it calls for, 1 skein of Rasta. Rasta, I believe, is 90 yards, and the pattern for the mittens calls for 66 yards. So you're in good shape. Looked it up on Ravelry. I had added 15 rows of cuff before, so that's what I did for this one, and that's how I ended up. I ran out of yarn. And of course we're out of Rasta Ravelry Red, because that's the first thing I did, was check to see if I could get more at my favorite yarn shop. And we're out. And Malabrigo's out in their warehouses, waiting on a new order to come in. So I'm gonna have opened fingers on this one until I can get another one. So then I am making these for Christmas gifts too. So then I made a pair that just follows the pattern perfectly, except I did more rows here. I don't know, 2 rows of ribbing on the bottom is just, for me, not enough. That would feel really short to me. Like, look, it would come right up to here. I just want my mittens a little longer. So this is the size mittens that it makes if you follow the directions, except adding a little here. I think I did 7 rows of that. The other thing I do is it calls for you to cast on 16 stitches, and I cast on 20 just because I have bigger hands. So this is 16, this is 20 around. And then I made a third pair. I'm doing everything in sets of 3s apparently. 3 of the gnomes, 3 of the mittens. So I made the third pair, and on this one I made 20 stitches, cast on 20 stitches. I did 7 rows of ribbing, and oh, I meant to show you the size ball I had left. The ball I have left is about this big. So this, I think, is the perfect adaptation of that pattern. Cast on 20. Oh, I had, for a minute, I thought I made 2 of the same. No, 2 of the same thumbs. That is always my fear when I'm doing mittens, that I will go ahead and do the second mitten and forget to change to go to the right thumb alignment. But no, these are correct. So cast on 20 instead of 16. You have to rearrange the number of stitches on the needle a little bit, but that's easy to figure out. And then 7 rows of the cuff instead of just 2 rows, and that turns out perfectly if you want them a little bit bigger and a little bit longer. So Diane Susie, that is, like I said, a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is, you will make a pair of these in one evening. It's super fast, and they're the comfiest, coziest mittens. If your hands are cold, you know how sometimes you get out of work and you're walking to your car and your hands are freezing, and you put these on, it's like putting a sleeping bag on your hands. It's awesome. So that's what I've been up to, knitting lately. And I found this pattern as I was looking through Sarah's gnome patterns, and I just bought this pattern tonight, which I've looked at before, for cuffish mittens. And look how fun that is. The mitten itself is pretty simple, but it's got fancy cuffs on the bottom, which you know is going to be, again, super fast to knit, because you're not spending all the time doing all the design work on the mitten itself, but you still have something fun on the cuffs, and also fun to play with color combinations. I really like things that are more than one color because I love playing with color combinations. So I picked out, this calls for worsted weight yarn. What I really want to do is I really want to knit mittens out of Blue Sky Extra. I made a sweater out of this extra. Did I show you that in the first video? I can't remember if I showed you that on that or one of the Facebook Lives, but this is the most luscious yarn. And that sweater I made the Easy Bulky one by Hoagie Locatelli out of this, and ever since then I've just wanted to knit with it again. And it is, I gotta put my glasses on so I can tell you what this yarn is made out of. It is 55% baby alpaca, 45% fine merino. It's the baby alpaca. I love alpaca yarn. So I want to knit, I think I'm going to try the cuffish mittens out of this, even though this is a heavier weight. I think I could adapt that a little bit. And there's gorgeous colors, so I really would love to do that out of this Blue Sky Extra. And then the other thing I thought would be fun to do is I pulled this Spud and Chloe outer, and I thought this would be fun to use for the super bulky mittens. This one I used the Malabrigo Rasta, and that's always what I've made those out of. But I think it would be fun to make it out of outer too. So I guess I'm kind of on a mitten kick. I don't know. It makes a good gift, and it's quick and easy to do, and if the people you're knitting for don't like it, you haven't spent a lot of time on it, but you have put your heart into it if there's somebody who appreciates it. And I always only knit for knit-worthy people, and it's not that everybody's not worthy, but not everybody is knit-worthy. You know, like if you're going to spend that time and money and put that much effort into a gift, you really want to know that they're going to appreciate it and they're going to love it and they're going to use it. And so I always when I hand make things, I always send them to or give them to people that I know that are going to appreciate it. So mittens are super fun. Anyway, all right, so that is what I have been up to. I'm looking at my list so I can tell you current projects, what's in my bag right now. It's just that goldfish memory that I have been working on, I feel like forever. I know we started it like in April when COVID was rampaging, because I wanted something colorful to work on, and that is colorful. And I'm probably 2/3 of the way done. I don't know, I haven't had the attention span to do a big project like that. I've got all these little things that I've had fun doing. So that's still in my project bag, and I probably I might do this other gnome with the color work and the fun beard, or I might make another one of these out of a bigger weight yarn. I don't know. Honestly, when I got this done, I thought I am never making that again. In my head, I was going to make one for my friend and one for me. And then I got done with this and I thought that's the cutest thing, but I'm never doing it again. And then by the next day, I was like, oh, I really want one of those. So I might be doing another one of these pretty soon. I want to make the cuffish mittens, so that's on my plans too. And I need to make a sweater. I have 4 sets of red yarn. 4 sets of red yarn to make a red sweater. I have red yarn from Leading Men, red yarn from Wool Mice, red yarn from String Theory, red yarn from Cascade. 4 sets of red yarn. Apparently I really want a red sweater. So I need to do that. I have all kinds of sweater patterns picked out that I want to do, but again, you know, I got to get my attention span back on bigger term projects. So, all right, coming soon to the shop. I wanted to fill you in on some of those things. We have a new order of Atenti Bags, which just arrived yesterday, and we have overnighters, bonnies, and tall caddies. And so those are going to go up on they're probably going to be up by the time you see this, because they're going up next week. So those are really fun. You know, those Atenti bags are just gorgeous. The fabrics are beautiful. They hold so much. And I love the overnighters because they're just big. They're, you know, this big, and I use them when I used to go on trips. I would take them on the plane. I love putting multiple projects in there because it fits multiple project bags. And then the Bonnies are like 2/3 the size of an overnighter, still the cute shape, rounded edge. And then the tall caddies are like a single project bag. So those are going up. We've got Cascade restocks going up. We just got a big order from Cascade. Still a lot of things back ordered from a lot of our different companies. Like I know we're waiting on another order of Rios and Rasta from Malabrigo, and we've got a lot of back ordered yarn colors from Cascade. They've just of course had a harder time getting it during this time with COVID and the shortages that we're facing and seeing in the yarn industry, and so we're staying on top of it as much as we can, but they're not able to stay on top of it. But we have more of that coming in. We have Madeline Tosh Vintage on the way in. We have Justita coming in. We have Uncommon Thread on the way. We have Wollmice on the way. So we have a lot of yarn still coming in before the end of the year for you. Okay, let's do question of the day. Question of the day. What is your favorite repeat pattern? One that you make over and over, like this mitten pattern is my favorite mitten pattern. I've made so many of them. These kindness monsters, I've made a lot of those, and I pretty much decided I keep my patterns in notebooks labeled, you know, socks, shawls, cowls. I have probably 8 different notebooks of patterns, but I decided I really need one notebook of just the ones that I'm going to do over and over, like the staple patterns that I love to do. And so I'm going to start that with some of these patterns that I know I'll make more than once. So my question for you is, do you have patterns that you love so much, or they've been such a great gift idea for people that you have found yourself making them over and over? So if you do, leave that in a comment below and let me know, because I would love to have the access to those resources, to knowing what you guys love. And I will certainly on our next Loopytube video share some of those too, because it's just fun to know some of those. All right, so we have a drawing for the winner. On our first Loopytube, I drew for this beautiful skein of sock yarn. And I asked you to use the word sock in your comments if you wanted to be entered. I also asked you if you were a 4-season knitter, knitting all 4 seasons, knitting year-round, or if you have certain times you knit. And overwhelmingly, you guys are 4-season knitters. I totally understand that. So I'm curious if you are as prolific all year round as you know, because like as I'm thinking this through, how I'm not into knitting big projects right now at all, but I feel like in the wintertime, like January, February, I'm more into the big projects. So I'm wondering that about you. Are there times of the year when you want to do small things versus larger things? And of course camp, when we do Camp Loopy in the summers, I always do bigger projects for camp. So anyways, I'm just curious how that works for you in your life. So I did the random generator, and Ellen Chappell, Ellen, you won this beautiful skein of Malabrigo sock. So if you will contact me, I'll put my email address below in the box below. So just click on that and email me your address, and we will get this right out to you. All right, thanks so much for watching. It's so fun to have you guys here. I appreciate all the comments. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed to our channel. That's really fun to see those subscription numbers go up. And we will have to do a drawing when we hit 1,000 subscribers, which I know we're close to. So we'll look forward to that the next time. Okay, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.